The Randolph is really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing that clip. I haven't seen it, so I'm looking forward to that and hearing about the exciting adventures of the life of Randolfe Wicker. And welcome very, very much to Conversations. A pleasure to welcome to the program Randolphe Wicker, who is billed as a multifaceted activist, and we're going to find out about that and the things he's been engaged in that continues. And Randolphe, welcome very, very much to Conversations.
Oh, real pleasure to be here.
It's my good pleasure to welcome you. I wonder if you could, we like to do it in a sort of template way, if you could just share a little bit of your own background, born and raised, education a little bit, as a way to wade into the the variegated things we're going to be talking about. But could you share your own background, please?
Yeah, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and grew up in Maryland and Florida. Went to school in Virginia for a couple of years, graduated at University of Texas.
Okay, at Austin?
In Austin, Texas,
Happening
1960.
Town. Happening town.
I was almost elected president of the student body. I lost by 30 votes.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Out of how many votes? 35?
No, it was a run. The fraternity man had 1,700. The other independent had 1,633, and I had 16.
Almost beat out the frat guy, huh?
Well, the thing is, the frat guy was doomed. It was a question of which independent got in the runoff. In the runoff, the frat guy only got 1,700 votes again.
Well, I'm sorry.
So if I had made the runoff, but that was bad because they were going to kick me out.
Yeah.
Because the dean had called me in and said, "We can't have a homosexual. We heard you're a homosexual. We can't have a homosexual representing the student body."
1960 was a dark age, and that kind of stuff. It's changed considerably since then.
Yes, sir.
I think Austin would have been a far better place if you had been elected.
No, I probably would have been destroyed in Austin.
Yeah.
If you found out that you were gay,
you
were calling the dean's office at the University of Texas, said, "Look, we have reason to believe you're gay. You have 3 days to drop out of school with nothing on your record, or you can take a lie detector from the Department of Highway Patrol to prove your innocence."
No kidding.
Yes.
It was that gross.
Not only that, the big scandal had been in early 50s. This lesbian had written her friend in Houston and said, "We're having a gay party."
Yeah.
And the parents intercepted the letter, and the police staked out the party.
No kidding.
And wrote down all the license plates. This is a funny story. Wrote down all the license plates of anyone that dropped off anyone at this party.
I'll be
now,
darned.
what happened is that a lot of the people who were dropping friends off were straight, didn't know that their friends were gay.
Right.
So in the big dragnet, they caught all these millionaires from Dallas, and Papa and Mama were on the phone, threatening big suits. But in the end, actually, I tracked down, because these rumors, I want to find out what happened. In the end, they let the students withdraw with nothing on their records.
They did.
And I tracked down a lesbian in Houston who had actually gone on to become a school teacher and had actually escaped. In other words, but it was almost in Florida, they used to get guys, if they caught someone in a sexual situation in a car or a toilet, they'd say, "Your university, you better tell us all the other homosexuals,
McCarthy,
or else we're going to prosecute you." And they would have these suites. When I was growing up, Charlie John's in Florida, were hundreds of perverts found at University of Florida.
Perverts.
Oh dear! I mean, the people don't know. Young homosexuals, they always think there was a gay pride. My base movement was gay activism.
Okay, because you were gay, obviously.
I was gay, but not only that, I was someone who went in the gay bars where you had kids from Ivy League schools, and this image didn't match the image in the media, which were all swishes, or they were all communist burgers and Malene. They thought all homosexuals wore makeup and dresses and were not, they didn't look like normal people. And I'd go to these bars, and they were all these very normal, nice-looking people. And so the Mattachine Society was an educational research organization. And actually, I became involved in that at the age of 20, in 1958. And
you were at Austin then, I guess,
yes,
right?
Yes, I did over my summer.
What were you studying?
I was majoring in psychology, minoring in sociology, and I wanted to go to law school. I went to one semester of law school and decided I'd rather be dead than spend my life with members of the bar.
What made you think you wanted to be a member of the bar?
I wanted to fight for justice because I really thought that law was about justice, and I got to law school and I found in 300 people, I was a Castro supporter in those days, there were only a couple, about maybe 5 that I could stand, and they had disbarred a lawyer in Florida for adultery, and I thought, if I'm gay, I really didn't have the foresight to realize that one could be gay and be a lawyer. I thought if to be gay, You know, I knew a lawyer in New York who didn't go to a gay bar. He would cruise newsstands, see someone buy a muscle magazine and follow them and hit on them because he didn't risk being even seen coming out of a gay bar by the police because he handled some of these cases.
Yeah, it sounds like McCarthy with the commies. You know?
It was.
Have you or ever been a gay?
Absolutely. Always and forever. As a matter of fact, people ask me what was my first gay experience. I tell them actually it wasn't sexual. It was social. At the age of about 9 or 10, I mean, I said to all the other boys in the neighborhood, I said, boy, when I grow up, I'm not going to go out and support some girl and slave away in an office, you know, to keep her at home so she can play bridge all day. And all the other boys agreed. And we all sort of took this solemn vow. But then the hormones set in, and I was the only one that kept the true faith.
So you were making trouble at 9. Good for you, and you keep doing it.
I wasn't making trouble. I just
well, you were pointing out the trouble that there was in this societal attitude.
Actually, I think that not just that, but I realize now I had a very skewed image of women. I see women. I saw women, and I saw women as users, as men, you know, having open doors. I thought, why do men have to open doors, pay 2 tickets for the movie theater, and all that seemed to me so unfair. And actually, when I realized I was gay at 13, my reaction wasn't, because I was an atheist. I wasn't worried about the religious teachings. My reaction was, wow, thank goodness I'm not going to be a slave to women all my life.
Well, you could be a slave to other men. No?
Well, that's true. I found out. I found out the hard way.
So.
Even being the butch in a relationship, where men are often ruled from beneath. Believe me.
Okay. See, I'm not very familiar or anything like that, but I understand.
Well, every heterosexual relationship, same thing. There are a lot of women that dominate their husbands.
It does happen. Yeah,
it does happen.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of, and there's been a lot of tension to that since Cro-Magnon caves, I believe.
Well,
that sexual business is there. It's part of the human organism and everything, and it's a powerful force.
But let me explain what happened. As I joined the gay movement, I actually became kind of famous because I heard a radio of WBAI, and they had these psychiatrists saying, we can cure any homosexual for $50 an hour for 8-hour sessions, right?
$400.
And I went up and I said to them, I said, what is this nonsense? I said, these guys are frauds. Homosexuals are the authority on themselves. And they said, I tell you what, get together a panel of homosexuals and we'll tape the program and air it.
And so, they did at BAI.
I did it at BAI.
Thank God for Pacifica, right?
1962. Thank God for Pacifica. Let me tell you, though, what happened.
Okay, what do you got? Something to show here?
This is my old literature. Here, you're going to have a copy.
Thank you. To keep.
Okay.
Will you sign it at the end of the program? Will you sign it for me?
Well, I hope I can read this. So anyway,
this make it more valuable.
There was there was a Jack O'Brien who was a writer for the Journal American. The Journal American was like the Fox News of the New York Post of today. And he said, we've heard a silly...
I'll hold it up if you can come in.
Right, if I can. Let me see.
You get your glasses. I'll hold it up. Maybe they can come in on this camera. I don't know if
basically, it says we've heard of silly situations
1962,
in broadcasting, but FM station WBAI wins our top prize for scraping the sickly barrel bottom. WBAI announces a bit proudly it will give 8 young homosexuals equal time to tell their perverted side of the admittedly sad, but certainly sinful story. Because WBAI believes in the rights of minorities to be heard. This lower depths decision followed the approach of the station's bubble-headed brass of a fellow bearing the card of Public Relations Director, Homosexual League of America. Is that a union? Actually, the card said Randolfe Wicker.
And did you spell it always F-E?
I'll tell you that. I'll get to that story next, right?
We want to make sure we see your handsome tie.
I want you to know this is my favorite line of this whole thing. This arrogant card-carrying swish. Actually, I'm more arrogant and more card-carrying swish today than I was in those days. Those
Good for you.
Suit and tie bureaucrat businessman.
Yeah. You're dressed very well.
Right. Well, I'm a transgender fashion activist now. I'm beyond the boundaries of gender with my dress.
Good.
So anyway, I had said a previous discussion of homosexual in America had been unfair and it did not give the opinion of any homosexuals. This 8-man or something. 8-man or something panel will cover the homosexuals' feeling towards promiscuity, domestic life, harassment, politics, living in New York, the dullness of straight society, reasons homosexual relations are so transitory. Yipes, change those letters to WSICK. Now, this little blurb This little blurb appeared 1 week before the broadcast.
You put it in your league, in your publication.
Oh, these are clips from things. So what I did is I took this little clipping, and I went to the New York Times and handed the man my homosexual Wicker, or Homosexual League of New York card, and he looked at it and he said, "Does this card mean what it says?" I said, "What else would it mean, right?" And they had a reporter come out, interview me. I went to Newsweek, and the end of the story is when the program was broadcast, to this day, it's the most famous Pacifica program. We got a whole page coverage in Newsweek, minority listening. We got a favorable review by Jack Gould in the New York Times. We got a news story in the New York Times. We got a write-up in Variety. And
wow!
So
you started the gay pride movement.
Well,
in a very real sense, you were one.
Actually, I asked somebody what my role was. He said I was the first gay militant.
Okay.
Because what happened in the Mattachine Society is, I got them evicted once because they were having panels where people came and talked, and they got like 25 people. Yeah. So I made these signs that said, "Citizens, a homosexual discusses, a lawyer discusses homosexuality in the law. Yeah. Free admission, everyone invited." Right. And I took it around the village, all over New York. In the village, I had a guy who was Italian, said, "Oh, put up two on my," he was devil tested, Italian, "put up two on my window." He said, "I worked on the Vice Squad for 20 years. It's about time they did something about these perverts." And I take the same poster into a shop, some little old lady be there running an antique shop. She said, "Oh, yes, put it in my window because, you know, it's time we did something to help the boys," right? So it was a sign that was neutral enough. Well, what happened the night of the thing, they had made this hall on the 5th floor of this place, and 300, for the first time, 300 people showed up for a meeting. Wow. Most of them women in bobby socks.
Isn't that interesting?
Lots of young college kids and college women in bobby socks. So they ran over.
In support.
To hear the program.
Yeah, right. Okay,
to find
good.
They were interested in the subject.
To give it a hearing. Yeah, exactly.
So what happened is they ran over and opened up Freedom House to take the overflow. That's how Mattachine started having meetings in Freedom House.
What's Mattachine?
Mattachine was the first gay organization.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, good.
They called it Mattachine. Mattachines were jesters in the Middle Ages that could tell the truth in their jokes, like if you were
get by with it with the royalty.
Tell the truth, and everyone would laugh.
That's a good stance, like Abby Hoffman.
But no one knows what the matter. They can't remember the name. They don't understand the meaning. Once you
but that's good to use that, right?
Oh, yeah,
that's great grounding. Yeah, right. And that role of the jokester is, or the what do you call them, jesters?
Right.
In the courts of Europe. Yeah, that was a really important place to be. Yeah.
So I started, I got a lot of publicity. I got them evicted. So the activists said, this is what we wanted, to have mobs of people. But other people said, that Wicker, he's no end of trouble. He got us evicted. They slaved away and taken this loft and cleaned it out. And built, I understand why they were upset, right? Well, after that, I actually...
Is that before Stone?
That's years. That's 1962. As a matter.
Whoa, you were a pioneer, brother. That's great.
I'm the first. I'm very early.
You were like the early civil rights people in the South, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that I am I'm the politically incorrect activist, because what happened after that is a friend of mine's girlfriend got pregnant, my best friend. Yeah. And abortionist was going to give us a call at noon. I think they didn't have a phone, and I did, but he was going to call at noon. He wanted $500 for an abortion. That was a lot of money in around 63 or 4.
It sure was.
A lot of money. Yeah. And they could only come up with like $430. So when he called, I said, "We only have $430.
We need 70.
And he said, "Tough luck, buddy." Click. Now at that point, even if 70 had fallen from the heavens, we couldn't have gotten back to him. I forget. I just know that was the end.
Yeah, it was illegal.
Right, and not only that, somehow he was going to call us. We couldn't call him. So it fell through. Yeah. 2 weeks later, or maybe a month later, I discover that they were determined not to have this child. He'd been living with her for 2 years. Yeah. And he started giving her quinine. They took quinine pills to induce a miscarriage. And in the miscarriage, she nearly died.
Oh, that's serious.
So my friend met the parents for the first time of the woman he had been living with for 2 years over a bed in Bellevue Hospital where their daughter nearly died miscarrying, you know, a child that he had made her pregnant with.
What was the major Supreme Court decision that made abortion legal around?
That was Roe v. Wade, wasn't it?
Roe v. Wade, yeah, Roe v. Wade.
But that was
many
years later. That was much later,
yeah,
right?
Right. Yeah.
So what happened is that I said, you know, society isn't just screwed up about homosexuals, it's screwed up about sex in general.
Yeah, right. That's a true fact.
And I became interested.
I think humanity's screwed up about sex in general.
Right. Oh, I still are.
Yeah.
But anyway, I left the gay movement behind, and I became involved in the sex freedom movement. And with the sex freedom movement, we picketed for abortion rights, rights for prisoners. We picketed
rights for prisoners.
Right, for having sex rights for prisoners, sexual conjugal visits, and things like that.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And also things like there was censorship in the New York Public Library. We had signs like a little pregnancy is a little censorship is like a little pregnancy.
Censorship in the library against what kind of literature about homosexuality?
Erotic. I'm going to get sex freedom league now.
Yeah,
I'm no longer. Yeah, that's why I don't like. I'm famous for 3 or 4 things. I'm famous for being an early gay activist.
Yeah, right.
Then I'm a little bit less famous as being one of the very early activists in the Sex Freedom League.
Yeah.
More importantly, after that, I became the anti-war button king. I ran the first psychedelic and big button poster shop on St. Mark's Place.
Good for you.
So I, you know, like Make Love Not War. I create. I sold millions of buttons.
You came up with that?
Well, no, I
copied
that.
Okay, right.
You
okay.
know, but
yeah, Make Love Not War. Yeah.
I think I have things like sterilize LBJ, no more ugly children. We had a button idea contest, so we're winning.
Did you know Abby Kaufman?
Oh, I knew Abby. Abby, well, Abby and I didn't have. There was a story I can tell you about it. He wanted me to be a consultant for War on Poverty for $200 an hour, and I said I have nothing to the War on Poverty, and all that money they threw off the stock exchange, all the dollar bills they threw off.
What do you think about that?
He hadn't earned that money.
No,
that was funds he had stolen from the War on Poverty.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, Abby Hoffman he was an operator, and the media played along. Like you probably never heard the story about Lace. They used to mace the demo. So Abby said they had created a thing called Lace, and when you sprayed it on people, they lost control of their sexual emotions and began copulating.
Well, he was a jokester. He was a trickster.
No, he was a master of media. I am one myself.
He was a master. Both, yeah.
He was a master of media manipulation. So
but you got to have loved Abby Hoffman.
No, because he used. The hippies used to sell me beads, beaded work, and I was supporting the community. See, he viewed me, I was a hippie capitalist, and he hated me. He would have his friends come in and steal the beads and then would sell them back to me.
I see, really.
And the last thing I had with Abby Hoffman.
He used to say, steal this book.
Right,
he wrote the book, Steal This Book.
No, wasn't it Reuben?
Yeah. No, that was Abby. That was Abby. I'm sure it was Abby, yeah.
Well, anyway, the way we finally had the really parting of ways is I had a shirt that looked like it had been made out of an American flag.
Yeah, right.
But it was really from France, and it looked like an American flag, but it was really a French flag.
You're right.
So I told Abby, I called myself Free Speech Incorporated for a brief period of time.
You had a shop down in St. Mark's?
Yes, I had a big button poster.
Where? And what
28 St. Mark's Place. I was a very center, right across from the Electric Circus, right around the corner from the Fillmore.
Right in the middle of everything.
Right, Abby Hoffman.
Gem Spa. Remember the Gem Spa?
Yeah, the best. What was that thing they sold?
Cream. What do you call it?
I don't either.
Cream soda? No, what did they call it?
Maybe it was cream soda.
No, it wasn't cream soda. I didn't sell that, but it was something else. I can't remember. Something cream.
But anyway, I told Abby one day, I said, well, Abby, if the House Un-American Activities calls me to testify, I have a shirt to wear, and I showed him the shirt. And actually, those shirts had cost $25 a piece, and I bought 2 of them in 1968.
Wow.
So that was like $100. That was a very expensive shirt.
I hear you, brother.
So Abby asked.
He put it on.
He asked me if he could borrow the shirt. So he put on the first shirt and started walking to the HUAC hearings up at the Capitol Hill, and the guards went crazy and tore the shirt off his back.
No, and it tore your shirt, right?
Yeah, but get this, right?
Yeah.
He said that he had bought it in a Village Boutique. He never gave me credit.
He didn't give you credit.
Not only
maybe
that,
he wanted to protect you from the forces of the law.
No.
He was looking out for his own skin.
Let me tell you the big showdown. He came back. This is my last. I don't know. We can say This is my last confrontation with Abby Hoffman. He knew I had another shirt.
Ah, he wanted that
He was going to be on the Dick Cavett show.
Yeah, he wanted to borrow it for that.
And he wanted to borrow it for that. I said, look, I lent you a shirt. It cost me $25. You lied to the press. You didn't even give me credit for having been the one that gave you the shirt.
You don't think he was trying to protect you?
No. I said, and you didn't even offer to pay me the $25.
Yeah.
I said, I tell you what, I'll give you the second shirt, but you're going to give me $50. $50. And
Maybe
then
he didn't have $50.
He had $50. He had tons of money.
Okay.
He was floating in money.
Well, why didn't he give you the $50?
He did.
He did, okay.
He did. And then going down the stairs, if you have to censor this, censor it, he said, Randy, we're going to cut off your balls. Wicker, we're going to cut off your balls. And I stood over the staircase and I said, Abby, we're going to hang you from a red, white, and blue tree.
Oh, my God. I wish you had it. Did you get it on tape?
Are you kidding?
You're kidding? That would be an Academy Award performance if you had it on tape.
I've told it to a number of people writing books on Abby
Hoffman. Yeah, but you didn't have it on tape, right? You should have had it on tape because it's in the moment.
We didn't have everything in life. Well, I did, but I only used it. It was $50 or $100 an hour for the blank tape.
Yeah.
That's why the video that I made of the Gay Activist Alliance.
And then we're going to see a clip of it. See a clip of that from 19 what year?
1971.
That was early. That's early. We're going to show that 8-minute clip of old footage.
So the gay movement was a little bit upset because I got involved in legalized abortion, you know, free love, girls going in the park taking off their shirts so they could be shirtless too.
Burn your bras. They were doing the ladies. They were doing that for a while.
No, that was later.
That was later. Okay.
Nudes at the beach. We're fighting for nude beaches.
Did you get to the Woodstock Festival up in Woodstock?
Believe it or not, it's the only thing I miss. I can't believe everyone
How did you miss that?
Everyone, because I was running a business.
Oh, I see.
I took $3,000 and turned it into business. It grows $200,000 in a year, and I netted about $50,000.
So
and I didn't have a year like that for many years.
So you were a busy businessman. You couldn't get to the great event of the whole.
I was a button king. I had staff.
You could have sold a lot of buttons if you'd gotten up there, entrepreneur.
I was selling. Listen, I had the corner market. I was shipping mail or the way across the market. Anyway, So then what happened is Allen Ginsberg and
God
Peter
bless
Orlovsky
Allen Ginsberg
and Edward Sanders. We found it.
Ed Sanders, right. The Fogs,
we found it in Lemar, legalized marijuana, because the same friend who that was the one that got his girlfriend pregnant turned me on to pot.
Yeah, Dana Beals picked up on that.
And I was really, I mean, wow, man, this is groovy. And when I go and talk to young groups, I tell them, you know, boy, I smoke pot. Oh, wow, how great. But then I found out, I'd say, oh, I have a great idea. And you type away, and I was a professional writer. The next one, it would be gibberish. And then I
a little too much grass.
I was really one of those people who, I used to go around putting up stickers saying smoke pot is cheaper and healthier than alcohol.
It is.
No, it isn't.
No. It isn't? You don't think so?
No, because I tell you the problem with pot. In every culture, and this is one reason I quit, I gave up pot. I renounced pot.
Oh, you did?
I saw drug culture, and not that it's a gateway drug. So it's not a gateway drug to heroin. It might be a gateway drug to LSD. But what it is it undermines drive. It's a pleasure drug. Yes, if you want to be euphoric and waste.
Well, we know what it does is THC, and it affects the neurotransmitter ratios, the synaptic cleft between the axons of the brain.
It should be decriminalized, which means they can't arrest you for having a joint. They can take it away if you have it. It's a forbidden subject, but they can't sell it in the corner drugstore saying best pot in the world right here.
Well,
so Lemar sort of got upset with me, too, because I finally decided that it was something that really should be discouraged.
Why is it to be discouraged? I don't quite understand.
Because
it's a pleasure. What's wrong with pleasure?
There's nothing wrong with pleasure. Look.
It undercuts the drive.
I'll tell you something. I've had maybe a half a dozen or a dozen acid trips, LSD trips. And you've asked me, what were one of the most incredible experiences of my life? It were those acid trips. But if you said to me, Dave, Randy, you want to take an acid trip? You know, maybe I've just gotten, I don't like to say term conservative, but you know, when you take an acid trip, you throw all the cards up in the air, and thank God in my case, they all came down in the same place. But there are people that don't.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
And I used to think that pot didn't bother anyone, but I finally met one. This is only one. I met all typical, but it's a true story.
Yeah.
He'd smoke a joint and just start talking gibberish, not making sense.
Gibberish. Well, okay, gets into it. Well, we know what happens with the drugs.
Well, I decided if you read, I was involved with Lemar. I did all the research.
Who's Lemar?
Lemar has legalized marijuana.
Lemar. It was
I was the editor of the marijuana newsletter, and I was given a ticket selling copies of the marijuana newsletter on Bleecker Street.
You kept pushing
in
that
1964, and gays would come up to me and say, "What does this have to do with homosexuality?" I said, "Absolutely nothing."
Okay, you don't have to have one thing.
I got the ticket. The ACLU helped me beat the ticket.
Good for them. Good for the. Do you know? Do you come into Bill Kunstler ever? Have to?
No, I never. I really would like to have met him.
Yeah.
I'd like to have been a lawyer like him.
Did you happen to know Ray Bremser by any chance?
No.
Ray was a great poet. He lived down the street, up in Cherry Valley.
But it's funny. Allen Ginsberg and Peter Orlovsky, Ed Sanders with the Fugs.
I love the Fugs. That's the best music that came out of the '60s with the Fugs.
Right, fabulous. And they were
fabulous.
And they were the five editors of the marijuana newsletter. Guess whose name they put first?
You?
Yeah.
Good. You're in good company with that.
I'll tell you what, they didn't want to get busted. They wanted me. They wanted me to be the second.
Somebody's got to be a scapegoat. Somebody's got to get their face out there.
Thank God nothing happened. I didn't,
But you're in some good company with Ed Saunders and Thule Kupferberg, Ken Weaver, and the Fugs.
Thule Kupferberg. What, is he still alive? He was so fabulous.
Thule is alive, as far as I know.
Really?
He's got that place down on Spring Street.
I have all his little books.
Yeah, he sends me cartoons still.
Really?
He's drawing cartoons.
He would have all these things, little clips about tobacco, alcohol, fabulous.
And the best album ever created, in my humble opinion, was It Crawled Into My Hand Honest.
Right.
That had Johnny Pissoff and that kind of stuff on there. It was great stuff. They were really good.
Right.
I did a program with Ed Saunders in '74 that I put up recently. He had written a book, The Family, about Manson. He'd gotten in with the Manson. Ed Saunders is a great guy. Really good. And that was funny.
And he had one of the first alternative bookstores. I forget it was called.
Ohm Fug, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was on Bleecker.
Yeah.
I think it was just Ohm Fug, wasn't it?
I'm not sure
either.
I'm not sure. I forget what it.
I had Ohm.
I don't remember the name.
But anyway, when you were on with the marijuana thing, and when did you swear off marijuana and actually become opposed to it? And did you keep?
No, I'm not opposed to it.
Let's suppose you were. Would you still support the movement that people be able to do it, even though you're against it personally? Could you do that, or would that be in the name of civil liberty? They got a right to do it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You still have that mind. That's important.
But understand, there's a difference. This is the difference between decriminalization.
Yeah.
I'm all for medical marijuana. I called my legislator.
I think that's coming.
It is. I think they passed it in New Jersey recently. And I just think that it basically is a bad habit. Look, I drink too much.
You do?
I'm Irish.
Drink alcohol?
I drink alcohol 6 ounces a night, almost every night, and our whole family. The doctors say that's
of spirits?
Of vodka. 6 ounces of Smirnoff. I measure it.
Well, you're doing something right because you look great. You're in great shape.
I add Metamucil to my vodka and my diet orange soda.
Well,
so I end up with this Metamucil cocktail. Now, this is a way if anyone's worried about really avoiding drinking too much. Because as you make about a 30-ounce glass.
It coats your stomach.
And no, but as you drink it, it gets more and more like slime. So by the time you're halfway through, you're sipping less and less. So by the time you finish,
because it's so unappealing.
Right. So by the time you finish, what I found out is 6 ounces is the amount that gives me a glow, makes me feel good. I don't get a hangover. And if I skip a day or two every week, I feel a lot better the day after I don't drink. But somehow we all have that crutch we need. Some people smoke at AA meetings. They're all puffing away on cigarettes.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but you've had such a life and you've gotten involved in all these kind of things. Listen, we could talk to you for 20 hours easy, right at the drop of a hat and everything, but we only got an hour, right?
Right.
And so we got a clip, right? You got a thing that you did. Maybe you could, as they say, set it up.
Okay.
Why don't we get that set up in the booth now, so make sure we get it in,
Okay.
And have we already got his tie? Show him the tie.
Oh.
Well, R-A-N.
I took the name Randolph, R-A-N-D-O-L-F-E.
That's with a little panache. That's good,
because Donald Webster Corey had to take the middle name Webster because he was the author of Homosexual in America.
Wait a minute.
So I thought if I ever, my name was...
Professor Irwin Corey you're talking about?
No, his name was Donald Webster Corey. His real name was Ed Sagarin. He's dead now. He was a professor, but he was sort of a bisexual married man. But he wrote this wonderful book in the 50s. It was a great inspiration of the early movement.
Did you know Burroughs? William Burroughs?
Oh, yeah, I can tell you a story about William Burroughs.
Yeah.
I mean, William
Naked
Burroughs.
Lunch was a real piece of work, man.
I went to interview William Burroughs for this. I edited Tit magazines at one point.
Tit? There was a magazine, Tit?
Early Tit magazines. Yeah, I was a men's magazine editor, right? So as the sun was setting, William Burroughs was getting closer and closer. And I wasn't interested in William Burroughs, and I said, you know, I sort of pushed him away, and I said, but you're such a famous writer, you must have all kinds of attractive young people ready to go to bed with you, you know? And he said, no, you know. I said, you know, I know someone. It's only a block from here. It was my own lover. So because he had read the book, Exit to Brooklyn, whatever it is. I only liked his book, Junkie. I didn't like his other books. His other
you didn't like Naked Lunch?
Exit to, no.
You didn't like Naked Lunch?
What it was
a major work.
Some of it was too ugly. You know, like their thing. I don't like excessive violence. So I said to William Burroughs, I said,
but the style and the way.
I know a young man a block away who I'm sure would jump at the chance to go to bed with you. So I ran home and I said to my lover, Peter Ogren, who appears in here. He's a curly-haired blonde boy carrying the microphone when I through the building. I said, how'd you like to go to bed with William Burroughs? He said, oh, you're kidding. I said, no, come.
Marilyn Monroe.
So I took him over there. I said, William, this is Peter. Peter, this is William. And I got out of there in a hurry. And the way he tells the story is that very slowly, he's only realized that he was there in the apartment and finally in bed with this decayed, smelling of alcohol man. And on top of that, this man wanted him to be the top. And when he finally got involved in in having sex with him, he had to fake an orgasm. And as he faked the orgasm, something from Naked Lunch or something ran through his head, because there's some line in there about when someone fakes an orgasm, I don't know, guts and blood and whatever, you know. And then William Burroughs saw us off. We went on a 6-month trip to a honeymoon. I always thought it was almost like a sexual trick I played on him.
Who did?
William Burroughs. I took my lover, Peter Ogren, my first lover of 8 years, and my second lover I was with for 18. We were going to go in a Volkswagen all around Mexico, and William Burroughs lived a block away. No, but he can't remember when we started off the trip. He came down to see us at the curb.
To see you off where you have a good trip.
In other words, I visited him at his apartment. He used to, when he got in all that cut up stuff, that didn't turn me on much.
He used to be in an apartment way the hell up. You remember Rafiq? Did you know Rafiq? You don't know Rafiq, did you? They had these big steps. We did a program with him, and it was like huge. It went up forever, and he was on the top floor. And the deck weighed about 100 pounds. We had to get it up there to do the program with him way back when. Anyway, problem is we don't have enough time.
Okay,
so let's go to the clip. What is the clip? You set it up.
Right, okay. There was a first gay church, Church of the Beloved Disciple, were having blessings of holy union, of gay unions. And the city clerk who ran the marriage bureau said they don't call them gay marriages, but that's what they are. And if they don't stop it, I'm going to issue tickets, or I'm going to have them arrested. So the Gay Activist Alliance in those days, the gay movement was not interested in gay marriage. That was a heterosexual thing. We'll write our own contracts, we'll develop our own mores, which but they couldn't stand by and have a city official attack a gay institution. So they decided to have what they called a ZAP. Now, ZAP is like great theater and drama. Instead of going down and picketing and saying we want our rights, they said they're going to go down, take over the wedding bureau, take a cake and coffee, go in the bureau, take it over, go through the building with leaflets and invite all the other civil service workers to come in for a gay engagement party. And then we didn't want to be arrested, so that we knew they would call the police. And when the police finally come, they come and you can tell they're almost laughing. I mean, they say, you really can't do that. And Jim House says, oh, yes, we know. And he says, and Jim House says, we're ready to leave. And the cop says, well, you made your point, now move out. And they picked up their stuff and left. And meanwhile, though, they were there answering the phone, dancing, which is all shown. I cut a 45-minute or 50-minute tape. I only have 8 short minutes of segments.
Okay, we got 8 minutes. That's a long time in this program. So let's set it up in the booth and run it. We're talking with Randolfe, R-A-N-D-O-L-F-E.
My first real videotape.
A real first videotape, and from the year what?
1971.
1971, way back in ancient history and many people's way of thinking. But let's run that tape. We've gone to black. We don't see the program yet, but let's hope that it comes up, and maybe they're going to come back as they get it set up, the buttons and everything, and we should see it come up on the monitor here, and it hasn't yet, so maybe they're having a little trouble. So let's just keep talking and set it up, and if you get it going, just let us know.
Just start it. There it is. This is it.
Okay, here we go.
My own kind of like awkward graphics.
Yeah, that's it sounds kind of like complicated. You don't want to
Hi, I'm Randy Wicker. Today we're talking to Father Robert Clement of the Church of the Beloved Disciple.
Okay, so everybody who has his hand up now, okay, put your hand down. We're going to go up to the office and set up. Whoever didn't put his hand up is going to take leaflets and start leafleting right away in front of the building and in the...
I wanted to find out what the plan for entrance was, and I was going to suggest that similar to the Harpers, we go in very friendly, as though this should be expected that we're throwing a engagement party here, of course, what else, and wait for them to start a heavy number, and then do a very heavy gay power thing, and then, but keep the whole level of it until the cops are called, if they're called, very friendly, get them into our show, don't let them, keep them off balance.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it here. This is a private office.
Well, we're just here to have an anniversary party. Maybe you didn't.
But you're trespassing on private property. You realize that?
Well, I can.
I know you're early, but you are still on private property. This is a working office. People are working. This is a private office.
Well, we feel we have a legitimate reason for being here. We'd like to discuss it with the people who work here in the office. And
I tell you what, if you wish to do that, why don't you have a representative represent, not something like this. This is a crowd. This is a crowd.
Well, there are many representatives from the organization who feel very strongly about a number of issues that we're here to discuss
why don't you make an appointment for it? You can't come into a private office and disturb
the gay community of New York. This is not a question of making appointments. We are here demanding retraction of his slander and demanding that he represent gay people who pay his taxes. And we are not going to take no for an answer from anybody. You want an invitation to our reception? Here, you're invited. This office belongs to us. We are the taxpayers.
You're trespassing on private property right now, fella. So
this property belongs to the people, and we are part of the people who pay taxes.
Not in this office. Not the way you walked in here. Not the way you walked in. Let's get one thing straight.
Let's get one thing straight. Herman Katz has slandered the gay community of New York.
Speak to him.
The gay community will not take that anymore.
Make an appointment. I'm sure that Mr. Katz.
We're here. We're tired of making appointments with people who slander us and who refuse to represent us.
Have you tried to make an appointment with him?
We do not make appointments with people who slander us. We do not make appointments with people who slander us. We should go to the other floors and out into the hall and get these invitations distributed so that we can have a lot of people come in here. We want to have as many people in here as possible. We have been slandered. We as homosexuals have been slandered by Herman Katz, the city clerk. We have every right in the world to be here.
You're supposed to be having an appointment to see Mr. Katz.
We are paying his salary and he is using his money to slander us. He is being paid by our money and he turns around and slanders us. Don't tell us we have no right. This office belongs to us. He has violated his trust as a public official, and we have come here to hold him responsible for it.
Well, you're supposed to have an appointment. He's not violating.
Stay on it for a minute.
Thank you. I need my face on camera.
Katz's office is right over there. You're welcome to attend if you like. Free coffee, cake, donuts. You're welcome to attend too. Right. You're all invited to come. Wedding reception for gay people, room 265.
Oh,
No! The time has passed when a public official can slander the gay people of New York and think he can get away with it. Right on. You can call your police. You can call your agents of institutionalized violence. We are here by right. The point. We are here by right, and we are not going to. A duplicate copy for a marriage license for 19... Was it for a gay marriage? A marriage of homosexuals? Well, this is the Gay Activist Alliance you just called. We're in Herman Katz's office of the city clerk. We'll be able to give you any information you would like. We're here because Herman Katz has slandered homosexual citizens of New York. And marriage license, we're giving out marriage license is free. We have a wedding cake here. It's really great.
and beautiful hostesses.
Well,
my brothers and my sisters, too damn long, all together now. We got discrimination of the city clerk. We got discrimination of the city clerk. We got discrimination of the city clerk. All together now. We waited too damn long for our rights. We waited too damn long for our rights. We waited too damn long for our rights. All together now. We're gonna love the way we want to. Right on, we're gonna love the way we want to. Right on, we're gonna love the way we want to. Right on, all together now. Yeah, my brothers and my sisters, too damn long. Yeah, my brothers and my sisters, too damn long. Yeah, my brothers and my sisters, too damn long. All together now.
Take the donuts out, too.
Where's the happy couple? Hey, John and John.
Here they come. Here they come.
Here come the flowers. Here come the flowers.
Continue to have
We'll move out. This man said that we're not.
I did not say you were being violent, but you disrupted my office.
But you did say we were.
I said you were disrupting my office.
You said that on the phone and we all heard you.
You are being violent, screaming out, and calling my people are not allowed to white people are not allowed to occupy their rooms. You don't have it. You can't make your point. Now, either you made your point or you didn't. You're no one. You don't need my name.
Funny. I mean, and I congratulate you. Put that together.
Yeah,
you did the filming.
I carried.
Were you using a video camera?
A CV camera, which was the first Portec. When I made money in the button business, I went out and spent about $3,000, 1968 or 69
to get a Portapack,
which is equivalent to 12,000. I was the only. No one had video cameras.
What
in
year?
those days.
68.
68.
That's very early.
Very, very early.
They only just invented it in Japan.
Exactly.
The
they had just used it in high schools, and it literally cost $50 for a tape. You only had about 40 minutes of power in your pack. So I just kept the camera rolling in this. I interviewed the minister. I went to the planning session, and I followed them in as they took over. After the police asked them to leave, they left and gave a cheer and set up an alarm.
Good for you. That's
they went past the wedding chapel.
I think the first Portapack came off the boat from Japan. I think the first one, I used to think it went to Namjoon Pike, but I think it went to the president. And then it was very soon. I got the use of about the 6th or 7th.
Right. The AV came out real quick after that, and then I couldn't put stuff on public TV without bringing up my own CV unit. It was out of date 3 years later.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But I want to say about video.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, congratulations on that film. It's really funny.
I went back to video. I was a reporter for a while. I went back to video. I post on YouTube, which is I have.
You post now, yeah.
Yes, I have 176 videos on YouTube.
Good
I have
for you.
randywickerreporting.blogspot.com.
And have you been doing videos since then? That was 68. Have you been doing video all along?
I did a few in the 80s and 90s. I wish I'd done more because.
Why didn't you stay with video, do you think?
Because I got involved in making money in business.
Oh, you got the old money bug bit you, right?
Right.
You like to make money?
I was in antiques. It was fun. I was running an antique store in the village with my lover, and
so you became respectable.
And I was out flea markets. Yeah,
you became respectable.
I became an
and
employer.
become part of the establishment.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yes, I know.
And
I can
made a living. Not only did I make a living, but even it was fun for the first 10 or 15 years. And for the last 14 years, it was 29 years. It was sort of like boring, and in the end, it got horrible.
What are the end of what is at the end of the 14 years? End of what? An association with somebody?
Well, my lover died, and it became where instead of making lamps and creating things, I was writing checks, hiring, firing, supervising. Everyone thinks it's great being a boss.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Believe me, if I took a day off from the store, I always regretted it. You know, and
because you were so tied to it, yeah.
Right, and yet
that
I couldn't close it down. I couldn't close it down for one reason. I thought of myself as like the axle, and there were 8 or 10 people depending on me for a living.
Right, you are, yeah.
You know,
and see, you got the heavy weight of responsibility.
Right.
And
thank
it's a
God
terrible cross to bear,
I worked, and thank God I managed to save $500,000 by the time I retired.
That's real money.
Well, I thought it was at the time, but then I found out my money was going at a clip. I'd run out of money at the time. I was 78 to 81. But then, thank God, my mother died and got me $600,000 unexpectedly a couple of years ago, so I was saved.
You've never had to worry about money except you got into the
I'm not for hire. When I retire, like people say to me, will you videotape? I don't go out and videotape for a fee. People say, oh, people should hire you. You're a great interviewer. You're so creative.
Well,
I'm not for sale.
You are creative.
I have more money than time now. Listen.
Yeah, but does that put you in a position where you can do what you want?
Yes,
and you're not at the behest of the money dollar?
Yes, I went out and covered the Hoboken elections last night and put it on YouTube, and now it's running away on YouTube.
I got that post from you. I thank you for that. You just went out and did it. But do you think it would be good if everybody in the world was able to do what it is, exactly what they feel they want to do at the time that they do it, rather than having to worry about are they going to get money from what they do?
No.
That would be like a liberated thing where nobody would do
when I stopped being I stopped being a socialist and went from being like a democratic socialist to being like just a Democrat. I found myself in rooms with all these guys that didn't have enough money to pay their next month's rent, but could tell you how to reorganize the world economy. So I remember thinking, God, he who would save the world should save himself first, or God helps those who help themselves. But the thing
that's
is
Norman Vincent Peale. You could just go to Norman Vincent Peale.
I'm sorry. I have come to have a great respect for men that accomplish and actually earn their way. So I gave up. And I'm bitter about it.
You got
I gave up 30 years. Yes, I became a liberal Republican and a libertarian. I thought, great, get rid of the government. Government messes up everything.
You like the work ethic. You like the work ethic?
I believe in the free market. I believe in self-employment. I believe in free enterprise.
Did you like George Bush as our president?
I hated him.
You did, but he was a free marketeer.
No, the only Republican that I voted for was Gerald Ford against Jimmy Carter.
I look a little bit like Jerry Ford. Do you think I look a little like Jerry Ford? He's from Michigan.
Actually, you're better looking.
I almost got, I don't know, he was pretty.
And I haven't seen you stumble and bump your head on anything.
I know, and I can chew gum and walk at the same time.
Let me go real
almost got a program with him who was a sitting president.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But anyway, let me go fast real quick.
Yeah, we only got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes left.
I became a libertarian.
Okay.
And I had the attitude, get rid of government. I mean, I was against, government was wasteful. I felt the welfare system, on one hand, was destroying the black family. It was lousy, right? But then what happened in 1982, all my friends started getting sick with AIDS.
Yeah, that thing hit like
and suddenly I realized it doesn't matter if the economy is growing at 10% or 20% a year if your friends can't get medical care.
Yeah.
And it sort of brought me back to the Democratic Party.
You get involved in the AIDS?
I went from being a libertarian in 1982 that actually I voted for Jesse Jackson. The proudest,
88.
the best vote I ever cast was in the primary for Jesse Jackson in 1988.
He was very articulate.
Yes, but on top of that, you know why I voted for him?
Why?
I really didn't think he was qualified to be president, frankly.
Okay.
But he was the only one he was there saying, what are we talking about? There are people at 50 miles or 10 miles from here, they don't have indoor toilets or plumbing.
Right.
And he was really raising
calling
issues.
It like it is.
And all the other people were really mouthing around, as I tell people.
Values,
I just, for one time in my life, instead of voting for the lesser evil, I voted for the man. I said, I'll vote for him in New York. I had posters in my store. I vote for him in New Jersey.
Okay.
But I know the rest of the company will never make him the nominee. If my vote would have made him the nominee, I don't know that I would have voted. But to this day, I remember telling my family I voted for Jesse Jackson, the primary. And those moments when you look at everyone, their food is hanging off the edge of their, and I'm like that and it's like this moment that's stuck in time. So I really became a Bill Clinton Democrat, and now I think I'm going to call myself an Obama Democrat. But I'm
Obama,
I love Obama.
I do too. I tell you,
he's
what my daddy would have called a class act.
Yes,
he can make an articulate, declarative sentence.
I had an argument with a guy on the PATH train who was supporting McCain, right?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I tell you what, I said, Obama is going to govern as a centrist, and his problem is going to come from the left wing of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it looks like it's shaping up that way.
Well, that's right. I said, this guy, you know, so
it's
anyway.
It's also coming from the right.
I want to get to one of the most important things in my life.
Okay.
I should have gotten into the transgender issue about how I used to be.
I just want to make one quick point about Obama. He doesn't exactly have the right wing in his pocket. Not any one Republican voted for the stimulus bill, and his general thing on
the Republican Party has become a laughing stock. Outrageous.
Now make the point you wanted to make.
Okay, I was going to say a few things that we didn't get into.
Yes.
I used to be didn't understand transgender people into this.
Transgender. What's transgender?
Well, transsexual people like this is Marsha P. Johnson, who was the house mother of my extended gay family. I wouldn't let her come and go and drag, but she worked as a drag queen. She'd go and even hustle as a woman out on the streets. People that are.
I'm confused. I don't understand.
If you're a male,
what are you
if I was transgender, I would feel like I was a woman.
Well, it's not a homosexual.
No, there's a big difference. They're straight. Okay. They're straight. I have a friend who was a beautiful woman who became a man who's still attracted to men, so went from being a straight woman to a gay man. That's the problem.
Is that somebody where they physically have an operation or something?
Yes, in many cases. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they transition without the operation. People don't realize there aren't two genders in the world. There are millions of genders in the world because every human being is a mixture of male and female. Most of us are lucky. You know, I don't have those. You know, I used to be kind of a little bit hung up on machismo.
Yeah.
Now I'm wearing a woman's belt that I made.
That's
you know,
this
but you can't have it has purple rhinestones in it.
Right.
I buy women's shirts and roll up the sleeves because they're brighter colored.
Thank God.
I'm wearing a bright brooch. I'm dressed. I discovered fashion.
They bring a little flair to it, you know?
I discovered fashion at the age of 70 through JPOP video. J-pop music is J-rock music, which is my latest passion.
What's J-rock music?
Japanese pop music and Japanese rock music.
You know,
and they're so free in their dress. It's not just their music that's happy, but these boys, they're not afraid. They might even wear a feather bow, but it doesn't have anything to do with being a female.
Yeah, right.
It just has to do with being free and bright colored shirts. And,
I understand.
And you know, I have a jacket that has grommets in it. I have I saw this chain.
Yeah.
I copied
Look
from.
at that. That's
I made
handsome.
it myself.
That's a handsome chain.
I made this myself.
That's really a handsome chain. And that's a little flash and flare.
And here's something that's sort of kind of a fancy belt buckle. It's handmade. It's arts and crafts.
Very well turned out, young man. Very well turned out.
And guess who hits on me the most?
The
women.
Sure.
I'll be sitting on the PATH train, a woman 3 seats away. Saying, I love that outfit.
I don't wonder why. Yeah, well, they do because there's something.
And guys too will say.
Look at me. Gray, blue. That's all men wear.
Black,
They're
brown,
so
gray,
dull.
and blue. Right.
Men are so
You're a
dull.
prisoner. Why are you still a prisoner?
I don't know.
You can be free.
I know.
We can get you a brighter
tie. You think I could get a jacket like that and wear it?
You can get it in a Halloween shop. It's a pirate's jacket. I'll give away the clue. You know how many people have complimented me on this jacket?
I don't wonder. They should because there's a little flair and everything like that.
And then one thing we didn't get to.
I think you're on something really important about that gender thing. Shouldn't be male, female. Most men tend to be.
Everyone should be free.
Tend to be male.
Everyone should be free to be beautiful as they feel they want to be beautiful.
Well, that's what I asked you a question before. When you were in a situation where you could do whatever you wanted, you weren't going to hire yourself out like some sort of a wage slave.
I also became a transgender fashion activist.
What, transgender
fashion? That means that I don't respect, because I'm wearing a women's belt. I might choose, if I go out on a shoot like I did at Cherry Blossom Festival, I'll put on this hat. That's really a woman's hat, but it looked great at the Cherry Blossom Festival. Something else. I'm sure this is a woman's hat. When I'm at the flea markets, people see me out. If you see this hat, you know it's me. My helpers can find me no matter what it's like. It really catches the sun. It's incredible.
It's fashion and flair and design, a sense of design and art.
This is Dykes in the City. That's actually a lesbian fashion firm, Dykes in the City. No, this is what I wear all the time.
Yeah, that's good.
It's really a lesbian hat. It's for what they call boys, B-O-I.
More interesting, isn't it? You look at the Congress.
Look at the back of this jacket.
No one has seen the back of the jacket. Oh my gosh, that's a work of art. Who did that?
I tell you, I had to buy a pirate's costume.
Yeah.
I paid $110 for it. Best thing I ever bought.
Yeah, that's a pirate's outfit. Is
but you wouldn't know that.
Hollywood movie or something?
No, a costume. I have a red glittered bow tie I bought was part of a woman's devil's outfit for Halloween. I put it on.
Good for you. Do you like Halloween?
I get.
Is Halloween your favorite?
Yeah. People are really themselves on Halloween. That's when you see the real person.
Right, I see. Yeah.
One thing we haven't
and that kind of thing. That's okay,
one thing we haven't touched on.
Let me hold it. I'll try to cut you. You have to, this is close. If you get to come in, Willie.
That is a
come in tight. This is a postcard.
That's a piece of it's a piece of art. Let My Family Live by Hunter O'Reilly.
Come in tight on it.
And this shows me as grandfather, as father, and as son because I was a cloning activist.
Okay, you were a cloning activist.
The first human cloning activist. That was my latest incarnation.
You are in favor of cloning a human
I was
being?
You look up Randolph, R-E-N-D-O-L-F-E. See, I took my name, Randy Wicker is the name you find all the gay stuff under. I didn't want to be known as gay or an atheist or a pot activist or anything under.
Why? Why not?
Because you don't mix causes. We had this argument at a party once. So I had this unique spelling of my name.
Yeah.
I changed my name legally so that I hope people are seeing the credits.
That's your legal name now?
Yes, sir. Randolph. I took my last name as a middle name. Randolph Hayden Wicker.
Okay.
And it was the greatest thing I ever did because I named myself. And you know, if you spell it right, and remember how to spell Randolph, that's the whole point of my appearance is.
Spell it out. Spell it out.
R-A-N-D-O-L-F-E.
Yes, that's very unique.
Right.
You have that trademark?
No, I haven't my name, but if you look it up, there's a Deputy Randolph in Italy and a Randolph family that went to Ohio, but
You found that after you took the name?
And it was accidental. There are 20,000 stories about Randolphs on the internet in 19,000.
Spelled F-E?
Yes, R-E-N-D-O-L-F-E.
So did you know that before you changed your name?
No, but
did you change your name out of the blue?
I created it because I thought it was an elegant. It seemed to me the way it should be
elegant.
spelled.
Again, the sense of style and flair.
I might be willing to pay some people $1,000 or so to name their kid that. I want to see this name. I want to change the name of Randolph. One of my little things.
It's a good name, isn't it, Randolph?
Fabulous.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Well,
Randolph
when
Wicker
I did it,
sounds great.
but when I was younger, I remember reporters saying Randolph. That sounds like you're about to inherit a barony.
Yeah,
but it was very nice in later years in '67 when I was that I was able to pick it up at the age of 60, and then Randolph fits me.
It does.
Now it's on YouTube. Randolph Wicker, R-A-N-D-O-L-F-E. W-I-C-K, all run together. That's another thing. I'm not a phony.
No.
Everywhere on the internet, I don't have except I know. I couldn't get Randolph because I lost my email account. I didn't think of Randolph too, so I called myself Human Cloner 1997 on Yahoo, which I still have to use.
You're for cloning. A lot of people feel
my gravestone.
We've only got a couple minutes left. Let's get this
my gravestone's going to say Randolph Wicker, champion of homosexuals, all genders, and children conceived through cloning.
Okay.
Because I think cloning is a reproductive right, and it's a shame we didn't get in that debate. The head of the Catholic League before George Bush's stem cell speech in 2001 on MSNBC and for 10 minutes afterwards. I'm probably more famous, in my opinion. My cloning activism, in my opinion, is actually more important.
That's a huge issue.
Because a huge issue about freedom of medicine to heal and science to discover. And
that's a huge issue.
Right. And they tried to use a reproductive thing, but I'm one of the few that I want to have another Randolph Wicker. I don't like this lottery where these people have kids and they say, who's this alien running around the house at 13? If you study identical twins, you'll see they have so much in common. You should have a whole show on human cloning.
Absolutely. I agree with you. That's a huge issue.
Right.
And they've cloned Dolly, right? They've cloned animals.
Oh, they've cloned a whole kind of...
As part of genetic engineering.
Right.
And are you going to have yourself cloned?
Well, actually...
Or are you going to try to have yourself
I won't want to have...
It's illegal, right?
Yes,
it's still illegal
in many places.
Yeah.
But the reality is...
Is there anywhere where it isn't?
I'm going to have places I haven't gotten around to outlaw.
Are you going to get cryogenic?
I'm going to have cryonically...
You are going to get
cells chronically so I'm going to try to set up a foundation so after I die, my genotype lives on. And people say, that's not you. But, you know... to me, that would be a small triumph over death. I'll settle for what I can get. I don't think science is going to work. You're going
to get you're going to get frozen when you die and keep your
and keep my stem or have frozen tissue ready.
Have you arranged for that? You have to
I'm a member of the Cryonics Institute. No, I can only do it at the Cryonics Institute.
You've done that.
I'm in the process of doing that.
You're in the
process. The trouble is to find somebody. I have to take the stem. I have to take living cells while I'm alive. You can't wait till you die for this, because the minute you die, poison flow through your body, you got to get living cells and have it done now. So if you want to be cloned, do it then.
Randolfe Wicker, ladies and gentlemen, he will live through the ages through cloning. Congratulations and thanks.